Hey guys, my name is Ara if you haven't seen my previous video, and today I want to talk about how the 21 day fix affected me and if it helped me lose weight and all of that. So, I did the 21 day fix the first time about a year ago, and I was really passionate about it, like it was helping me lose weight. But there were a lot of problems that I had with it. I did the 21 day fix off and on for about 3 months, and I lost 20 pounds. It's an extremely low carb diet. It's extremely low carbs, and I was craving carbs constantly. I felt like if I ate carbs, I had to feel guilty about it. And they also recommend that if you can't eat the amount of food that is required, then you cut the carbs and eat all the fruits and vegetables and animal protein and all of that stuff. So when I did eat carbs, even when I was eating only the amount that they recommended, I felt guilty about it because in the diet, it was like carbs are bad. If you can, cut them even lower to what we are telling you to, if you can't eat the amount of food. And it was a lot of food, but that's mostly because over half of your diet is fruits and vegetables, which is great. You should eat lots of fruits and vegetables, but the rest of it was just kind of like supplemental. Like you were supplementing your diet with protein, like eggs and meat, chicken, poultry, all of that stuff. You were just supplementing your diet with those things. So I began to feel really guilty about eating any kind of carbohydrates. And there were only a really small amount of carbohydrates that you were allowed to eat on this diet. So it made me feel bad. Like, I think that it did a lot of good in teaching me the portion sizes to eat if I were to follow a high animal protein diet. But also, if you're eating a lot of animal protein, especially meat and dairy, you're also eating a lot of fat. There is a ton of fat in those things. So they tell you that it's really high. They tell you that it's really low fat and high carb and high protein, and they only give you one like little tiny thing of fats per day, so you weren't allowed to eat anything other than what was on their list, which is really unsustainable for most people. The standard American diet is full of carbohydrates, it's full of fats, it's full of all these things. So I felt really like guilty about eating even the products that they suggest that I eat. I felt really restricted. I would like put off eating until I absolutely had to eat because my blood sugar was getting low, I was getting shaky, all of those things. And though, as I said before, it did help me, with portion control, which is important. It's a very, very important, especially if you're on a animal protein diet. So along with that was the workout plan. The workout plan it's okay and good for someone that's used to living a remotely, active lifestyle. Like if you go to work, you're walking around a lot at work, you're doing a bunch of other errands and things. But I am on disability for some of my mental health issues, which stems from a lot of anxiety and depression. Excuse me. So I live a very sedentary lifestyle. I'm home all the time. I rarely leave my house at all. And when I do, it's with my boyfriend, like going grocery shopping or going, to go to a restaurant and overeat there, or to the movies and eat a crap ton of popcorn, as we all do. But yeah, that's pretty much the only time I leave. And I do a lot of the cleaning here, but that's, twice a week. So I don't move around a lot. I spend a lot of time um, at my computer, and I have both a desktop and a laptop. So it's either I'm sitting in my chair at my PC computer or I'm sitting on the couch on my laptop. So I live very sedentary. Um, and, that working out 6 to 7 days a week is not manageable for most people. Yes, it is only 30 minutes, but it's very high intensity, especially if you're overweight. It's insanely high intensity for me. There were times that I literally had to sit down because I was nauseated, I was, dizzy, and my body was so hot. Like, my internal body temperature was through the roof. And my heart started palpitating doing these things. So, on top of that, at the beginning, I was so committed. I was so into it. Like, every time I start a diet and exercise routine, I usually go on a really, really structured plan. And those structured plans are always low carb. Always. And it's just not manageable for me and my lifestyle, and specifically because we aren't like really well off. Like, we live in low income housing, and we're really, I mean, not poor, but we're definitely in the lower scale of financial situations. Um, so yeah, I ended up getting an injury in my knee, um, because I was working out every single day, and I was in a support group run by a Beachbody coach. She was like, "Yeah, keep going. I know you're sore, but keep going." And I did. I kept going. I was pushing myself way beyond anything that I have done before. And I ended up getting an injury in my knee because there's, the normal amount of soreness. You're mildly sore. It hurts to sit down to go to the bathroom. It hurts to sit up or walk upstairs. But I was getting a pain deep into my knees and my joints, which went to my doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't continue to do this. You are going to end up with a ongoing injury that won't go away if you continue to do this." So, I took like a week and a half off. I was still doing the diet, and I was ravenous all the time. But, I was starving myself. I was like, I'm not going off this. I'm not doing anything differently. So I would binge on low calorie, pretty much water. I would binge on, like celery or lettuce and salad. And I I felt just so hungry all the time because my body was telling my brain, hey, you're not getting enough of these things, so you need to shove everything that you can find in your face. So I, started binging. At first, I was binging on healthy things and still following the program. And then I started binging on everything else because my boyfriend is a really unhealthy human being and he always has junk food in the house. So I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm eating everything. I don't care what it is, but I need to get it in my body and I need to get it now. So start the binge cycle. So I ended up gaining about 35 pounds after I stopped following the 21 day fix. I gained, 15 pounds more than I had lost. So, I'd been vegan before. The only reason I stopped being vegan is because I was feeding more people than I could afford to feed. So we were eating a lot of processed food, animal products, like we were eating so much crap. Because I thought at the time that it was the only thing I could really afford to feed all these people. We were eating tons of ramen, and tons of like pastas and mac and cheese and all those really, really cheap processed foods that you can buy. So I ended up gaining tons of weight. I am at the highest weight I have ever been in my entire life, which is, almost 220 pounds. And I am 5'2", so that's really, really overweight. And I'm not ashamed, really, to be overweight. I mean, when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm not like, oh, you look damn hot today. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm used to saying it. I've been overweight my entire life. And as I got older, my addiction to food only got worse. And I've struggled with eating disorders my entire life. When I was in high school, I was 140 pounds, which wasn't really overweight. I felt like I was overweight, but it's only like 10 pounds overweight. And, I just got heavier and heavier as, time went on. And I was one of those people who, had this whole like cycle between not eating anything, like eating like between 300 and 500 calories a day, and then binging, and then doing the same thing over and over and over. Because I would, get ravenous and I would eat everything for like a month because my body was crying out. It's like, you need to eat something. You are going to die if you don't eat something, even though, I wasn't getting the nutrition that I needed, and that caused me to binge. And it's going to cause anyone else to binge because your body is screaming for more than you're giving it, especially if you're on like a keto diet where your carbs are incredibly low. Your brain and your body functions on sugar. It's the only thing that causes your body to run. And when you're on a really low carbohydrate diet, it's going to do so much worse than it's going to do good. And eventually, it's not manageable long term. It's really not manageable long term. You're going to feel deprived. You're going to feel starving all the time because, animal protein isn't giving your body what it needs. It's just basically tricking your body into thinking that you're eating the right foods when you're really not. So that's, a big part of the reason why I decided to go vegan again. I've been vegan for about a week. I've lost about 3 pounds or so. And in that time, my diet has mostly been starches. So, starches and vegetables. So I'm kind of, going a little bit more in depth with that and following the starch solution, because I know it works. And I haven't really been eating any fat whatsoever. So I'm eating tons. Like, I'm eating all the time. You know, potatoes, rice. I make rice like in bulk. Like, I made a giant container of like Asian style fried rice with no oil. And that lasted me like 4 days, 3 days. I think it was 3 days. And now and then I made a giant container of like beans and rice, like a Mexican style beans and rice. And I've been eating that, and that's lasted me 3 days in the same huge container. So I'm eating tons of carbohydrates. And the way that the media teaches you about carbs is that if you eat too many carbs, you're going to get fat. And that's not true. It's not true at all. And the last week has proven that. I've not been eating any processed foods, very little fat, and really high carbohydrates. I'd say probably 80 to 85% of my diet is carbohydrates. So, that's where I'm at. And I just wanted to, I guess, share this information with you and see what kind of response I get from you guys. So I hope that you guys are all feeling well, doing well, and staying healthy. So I'll talk to you guys later.